Welcome to class 14 of Secretarial practice. Today we are going to study advantages of joint stock company. So we know joint stock company is a company owned by the people called as shareholders. So each shareholder owns company stock in proportion to through the number of the shares what they are going to hold, right? So today we are going to study regarding the advantages of this joint stock company. So the first is limited liability. So here liability is limited to the amount they have invested in the business. So their liability will be limited to only for the unpaid amount of the shares. So the next is large capital. So why large capital? So we are studying about joint stock company. So in public limited company there is no limit of shares. So this advantage helps the company to collect huge capital from large number of shareholders. The company may also raise the capital through issue of debt to the public. So they can collect as much as capital as there is no limit for that. The next is better management. So why better management? In company, ownership is separate from its management. The owners are the shareholders and they are not taking any part in the management. So the management means different. So which means the who is going to manage the company. So it may be the board of directors. So this board of directors will be elected by the shareholders. So the directors appoint the directors are appointed by the shareholders. So they are the experienced and the qualified personnel. So for the efficient management, the efficient management may help the company to take the rational decision. So it will help to take the rational decision as can produce better result for the company. So shareholders, so they are not in a or they do not take a part in a day-to-day activities in the company. So they are scattered in different places. So on behalf of them, they are going to have the board of directors. So they are going to elect the board of directors, and these board of directors are well personnel, qualified personnel we can say. So they are the experienced or expert persons in managing the business. So they what they do is they are going to take a better management. So when we speak about public company, so public limited company, so they can issue the shares or they can trade their shares in the stock exchange. So in order to get their stock shares listed in the stock exchange, they should have the better management. So in order to have this or in order to get listed the shares in the stock exchange, you should have better management. Now the next is transfer of shares. The shares of the company are easily transferable. Shareholders cannot convert their holdings into cash. So by selling these shares at any time in the stock exchange, this brings liquidation of investment. The next is stability. Stability means stable or we can say continuous. So company enjoys long life, right? So its life is not depending upon the life of the retirement or life or retirement of the shareholders. So the ownership and the management does not affect the continuity of the business. So its life is not depending upon the management or the ownership. So its life is longer. So we can say people may come, people may go, I remain forever, right? So it is pertaining to this only. The next is easy expansion, or we can say easy expansion. So company has unlimited opportunity to expand. So finance new project. So by issuing the shares and debentures, they can transfer some position or some portion of profit to reserve for the further expansion. So the next is public confidence. So company is required to submit the financial statement to the government. The accounts are audited by the auditor. So to make the accounts free from the errors and frauds, this enables the company to enjoy the public confidence. So which mean, so public companies which are there, so it is necessary for them to get their accounts audited, and based on this audited statement the people are ready to invest in the company. So who are the investors now? Before investing you will be the public. So what happens? You are going to submit the financial statement and the audited statement to the government. So what happens? The when it is audited, we can say it is free from errors and frauds. When it is free from errors and frauds, people will have confidence on the company. The next we are going to study regarding the disadvantages of the joint stock company. The first is difficult in formation. Why difficult in formation? So if it is a private company, you can start your business soon after getting the incorporation certificate. So if it is a public company, you should go through the next two stages also. Okay, so the formation of company is quite difficult than the sole partnership. So it requires a lot of formalities to be performed at the time of establishment. So it must prepare registration certificate, or you should get the registration certificate, commencement of business certificate, memorandum of association should be there, articles, prospectus, etc. So all this should be there if you want to get your company registered or incorporated. So the company also has to print the share certificate and publish this in its prospectus through the advertisement. So the formation to form a company, it is very difficult, and this is one of the disadvantages. Then the next is taxation. So the income tax of company is duly taxed, or sorry, the income of the company is duly taxed. So first the profit earned by the company, second the dividend earned by the shareholders. So in addition, the company must also pay the corporate tax, so which will be a burden for the company, right? For income tax on profit, it is going to pay the income tax. So dividend will be earned, on that you are going to pay the tax. So then next you are going to pay the corporate tax. So tax upon tax. So the taxation is one of the disadvantage. The next is lack of secrecy. So secrecy cannot be maintained, right? So company cannot maintain secrecy. Its financial position changes every year, right? Every year it changes. So financial position of every year financial annual statement are distributed among the shareholders, registrar, bank, etc. So this disclose help the competitor to know the strong and weak points of the concern, right? So the competitor who are there, so they will get the idea regarding whether the company is strong or weak. So what the competitor do, they may frame a strategy to overcome or to defeat this company. So what happens? Secrecy will not be there. The next is lack of credit standing. So what is this lack of credit standing? So the company cannot enjoy high credit standing because of limited liability. So it has, if the assets are insufficient to pay off debts, the personal property of the shareholders cannot be utilized, right? So personal property of shareholders cannot be utilized. The next is lack of personal interest. In company, the shareholders do not take part in management of business. So the company will be managed by whom? By its employees. So who are the employees? It may be the board of directors. So they are the employee who only take interest to the extent of the assigned task to justify their salary. So what they do? So there is a saying in Kannada, Alu Madiddu Halu Maga Madiddu Uttama, right? So the owner, when they do themselves, there will be the perfection. So what happens here? The employee, they are going to do. So what they do is, so they are going to take care, or they are going to do the task only which is assigned to them. So they are not going to take interest in the other things. So they are not going to take interest for the benefit of the company. So they justify their salary. That's it. So for example, so I'm handling secretarial practice and some other subjects are handled by some other teachers. So am I bothered about the other subjects? So whether it is completed or not? No. So what I do is, I am bothered only about SPE, right? So because I am paid for only the classes what I am going to take. So the next is, so here we are going to complete the disadvantages of joint stock company. So next we'll move to the third chapter. So third chapter speaks about documents of company and secretarial duties. So documents of company and secretarial duties. And the first document is your Memorandum of Association. So what is this Memorandum of Association? So the meaning says that it is a primary document prepared by company which contains objectives, aims, nature, liability, etc. of company. Okay. So it is a primary document, which means it is the first document. So it is the first document. We can also say that it is a stable document. It cannot be changed without the prior permission of the government or the central government. Okay. So when we say it is prepared by the company, it is prepared by whom? The company means it is been prepared by the promoters. So why it is prepared by the promoters? It is a first document which you are going to prepare at the time of incorporation in order to get your company registered. So who is going to be there in the beginning stage? The promoters will be there. So the promoters are going to prepare this document. Okay, so general definition says that it is a document which sets out the constitution of the company. So why it is said it is the constitution of company? So it is because based on this, so based on, or we can say it is a foundation upon which the structure of the company is made. So it describes the scope of company activity and its relation with the outsiders. So it is going to speak the structure of company or the scope of company and the relation with the outsiders, right? So we can say it describes the permitted range of activities, which means what all activities you are going to do in the company. So what is permitted and what is the relationship with the company with outsider. So there are some contents or clauses of Memorandum of Association. So this will deal in the next class.